It's not about inbound versus outbound or anything of that sort, because I think those times are over, and if companies don't fix that and move towards outbound, I don't see companies being efficient when it comes to revenue and ARR.
Today my guest is Anand from Oneflow. Anand, welcome to my podcast. Thanks for joining me today. Please, in few words, introduce yourself and introduce Oneflow. Tell us what you do.
Thanks for having me on the show, Pete. I'm really excited today. I lead the growth and marketing at Oneflow. Oneflow is a AI-powered contract management software that automates the entire contract process from pre-sign to sign and post-sign. So Oneflow basically saves you time and money because the entire contract process is automated, and your team can focus on what they actually should do instead of spending a lot of time on admin work. It's something that Oneflow basically saves, and it gives a better customer experience for your customers as well. They don't have to go back and forth on these negotiation and discussions that has to be updated on these contracts. So it's basically everything automated, and your teams can focus on what they should actually do. So that's what Oneflow does.
Super cool. Yeah, super cool. Thanks for the introduction. But there are some different tools. Is there something different that makes you different from DocuSign, PandaDoc, and all those alternatives that's been around for quite some few years?
Yes, contract space has evolved a lot, I would say, in the last 15, 20 years, where people initially used paper, and still a lot of companies do use that. But then there came a phase where people started creating contracts on Word docs, PDFs, and then you used to add a e-signature tool on top of it. But it still needed multiple tools in order to have your contracts. But then those have become kind of legacy tools. We are talking about AI, but when it comes to contracts, we are still depend on these legacy tools. But that's not the case. There are a lot of advanced tools out there. When it comes to Oneflow, you have all your contract process in one place. Multiple teams can use it. So it's not just, multiple departments in your company need not use different tools. So it's one tool for all your departments, which gives much more visibility into the contracts. All your contracts are in one place. And since most of these teams work with their CRM, or if it's your, HR team that works on recruitment softwares, you need to have a tool that automatically syncs or has integrations with these contract management software. So that is what I would say as one of the big differentiation. And that's what Oneflow is trying to bring in, where one tool for all departments that breaks the silos. You have data in one place, easier integrations. So you integrate with your existing tools, and your Oneflow sits within your existing tech stack, and the entire contract process is automated. So Oneflow is more of the contracts are based on HTML. So it's editable contracts. Normally what happens with these other legacy tools is that when you're in negotiation with your customer or with your prospect, there are a lot of things that you might have to change in your contract. And each time you have to go back and forth to make these changes. And then you would have noticed that you get a new version of these contracts. And your inbox is going to be filled with multiple versions. That's what Oneflow basically eliminates, because you can edit your existing contracts in real time. You don't have to go back and forth and send another version. So that entire version, having different versions, is something that eliminates. So this entire process is much more easy, efficient, and smooth. And that's what Oneflow wants to bring in. And I would say that's the biggest difference.
Yeah. And thanks for explaining. And actually, you know what, since we've met and I actually had a good look around the software, I think I'm going to change, because I use PandaDoc, and I was facing that situation you've just described. I was actually negotiating a contract, and there were a few stakeholders, and I had to resend a new link, previous link didn't work. It was very confusing why you had to be like this. And I was started looking for alternatives, and Oneflow looks great. Also cheaper, interestingly enough, right? Which is super cool. So I'm actually going to seriously consider that for the swap. But tell me, in your marketing, when you find those new clients, because it's very straightforward who uses that, what for, right? What type of companies? When do they start using that? Are they replacing a tool that they're already using, that it's like one of those big players because of the cost, because of extra features? Or are these people that previously used to have PDF that they send on email and please sign and scan and copy and send it back? At which stage they are when they start, when they do that transition to Oneflow?
I would say it's a mix of both, because a lot of prospects who look into Oneflow, like you said, a significant of those prospects are using one of these legacy pure e-signature tools, and they want to move away from that because they need to maintain PDFs, Word. At the same time, they need to have an e-signature tool, and then they need to ensure that, okay, they have these integrations. So yes, a significant amount of prospects come from that space. But we also have a lot of people who still have contracts within the Word and PDF, and then they use manual handwritten signatures as well. So it's a mix of both, and that's why for us as a marketing team, we have that challenge where on one side we need to ensure that we have the campaigns and the strategy to capture people who are frustrated with their existing tools and show them how Oneflow can basically help them be more efficient. And on the other side, educate the audience that are people who are content with their existing old way of doing it because they are not aware that their existing process is inefficient and there's a much better solution out there. So it's more of educating these audiences. So it's a mix of both, I would say, and that's how we have set our marketing strategy as well.
That's super cool. And that's what, I like as a company. That's what we do. We always tell them, attract with a message, marketing message, attract your prospects and potential clients, and then educate them. Because very often what happens is those people have no clue that there is a better way of doing something that they've been doing for years, decades, right? And that's your job as a marketer, as a salesperson, to really find a way. How can I actually show you that there is a better way? You're wasting time, you're wasting money, you're making mistakes, and in 2025, there is no place for this. It should be done completely different way. That's why we love actually approaching selling digital transformation for that very reason. Super cool. So tell me about what marketing channels it's been working for you last few years. Where was the focus? Was there any shift maybe since COVID? And recently, what's been working the best?
I mean, our audience, typically find about us through, word of mouth, through communities and social. And the other two channels I would say that's working for us a lot is paid search. Yeah, I mean, people search for us because, like I said, there is a huge segment that is frustrated with the existing tool. Obviously, they'll search for new tools. So that is one segment. And I would say both the paid as well as the non-paid sites. Search on Google. Now we see that shift. There is a significant search pattern growing in AI channels. People searching for whether it's tools or to understand what are the other solutions out there. So yeah, I would say a paid side within search and AI platforms, and the non-paid side as well, apart from word of mouth. So these are the channels that's working a lot. And from a paid social standpoint, since I said there is a big segment that needs a lot of education, we use demand creation activities on paid social, especially on LinkedIn. And that's where we kind of have a lot of content distributed and audience getting educated about our software and what solution that we provide, what are the challenges that they currently face, and how we can solve that.
Super cool. Yeah. So let's break it down. So you said Google Bing as well. You do you Bing as well. Yeah, good. Because very often companies actually skip Bing, and it's like, now it used to be. It's actually quite a huge audience. Offices, especially when they're just forced, right? It's as default put as Bing. Marketers know that sometimes the setup is as simple as just copy and paste from Google where you go to working, right? And he actually ROAS always better because not as much competition.
Exactly. I mean, I'm good that you brought that point because Bing, volume-wise, yes, it's much lower than Google, but the quality is extremely good. We see a very high conversion rate from the leads that we bring into customer from Bing. So yes, offices, they still use the existing Microsoft tools, Bing, and also now Copilot, which is also, we see a lot of traffic coming in from that as well.
Yeah. And actually, interestingly, bigger companies as well, right? Because the small ones, they just move with time. They move with technology. It's easier for them to change the setting. The bigger company, the person using that probably sometimes cannot even change that without contacting IT department and so on. Talk me through some advertising on the AI platforms. We've touched on that briefly before the podcast, but I would like to find out a little bit more what you've been doing around that.
Yes. I mean, we have seen this shift in customer journey and the way prospects search for a tool or look for a solution or an answer. That has shifted. I mean, I'm still not a big fan of saying that SEO is dead or the old way of SEO is dead or anything of that sort. But we see that shift of at least 5% of our traffic comes from AI channels, and that is ChatGPT, Perplexity, Claude, and Copilot. So we see that shift. But then, I mean, if there is anyone who says that, okay, there is a clear hack to get ranked or get a mention in AI channels, then it's false, because there is no hack or there is no one solution there. It completely depends on the quality of the content that you bring in and the brand presence and brand awareness that you have. So I would say for the last maybe 10 months, there has been a lot of focus on these AI channels. From a content perspective, how we ensure that the content that we provide brings value to the user and the prospect, establish more Oneflow as a thought leader within the space. And when it comes to specific brand awareness campaigns, yes, we use social channels, we use communities, we use these platforms like Reddit, Quora to make sure that there is a lot of conversations, engagements happening about Oneflow, about the space. That has, I mean, some of all this, I would say, has helped us when it comes to AI channels. It was less than 1% maybe 10 months ago, but now we have close to 5% plus of traffic coming from these. And we also have leads flowing in from these AI channels. But yes, we are still only at 5%. So we have a lot of things that we need to focus on. But at least we know that we are on the right direction as long as we focus on creating value to the user, and also establishing ourselves as a thought leader by providing actual answer or give solutions to what their challenges are. I think we can have a significant position and a place within the AI channels.
And how does that work from execution? Is a platform? I actually haven't put advertising or anything like this on those. They're quite relatively new channels. How does that work from the more like SEO when you want to feed with the content so it's relevant? Are they actually, because I know there were talks about opening paid channels literally where they are going to be sponsored, and I think a couple of them are in the beta stage, and already actually some companies are testing. So which channel? How are you using that as from the execution point of view?
I mean, from a paid perspective, no, we haven't started anything on the AI channels from a paid perspective. Like you said, as far as I know, a lot of things are still in beta, so I don't think they have completely rolled that out, especially within EU, because I know they would start it more on the US market first. But when it comes to the organic and content, yes, I see few AI tools coming up that's specifically for these AI channels. We don't use that yet, but I mean, our existing tech stack, we use Hockey Stack it's more of a tool to look into the entire customer journey and also attribution. We do see the traffic and the leads that we bring in from AI channels. So that's how as of now, we measure and we look into how our performance is going. But otherwise, it's all about, the existing topics and sticking to the basics. So the content that we write, the topics that we select is more based on our sales calls. So we listen everyone in the marketing listens to sales calls, and we try to capture those topics. What are the questions that prospects ask? And we try to bring in topics and write content based on that. So that's what is helping us. So I don't think we need a specific tool to come up with these as of now. Yes, going forward there might be, but for now it's more of sticking to the basics.
Yeah, good, awesome. I love the strategy. I like how you're actually testing new things. You're actually the first person I've ever spoken to that has got active search of how to utilize AI channels, because people say that's going to be the future. That's how we're going to be Googling things, right? And interestingly, article I read the other day that as you probably know, Google Chrome, they need to sell it. I don't know if it has been decided that they actually need to sell it as a separate company, and OpenAI are interested in bidding, right? So that will be quite something that will change the world as we know it in Google domination, because if OpenAI are linked with the most popular browser in the world, that could be something, right? Anyway, talk me as well. Tell me if, in the next few... No, I wanted to touch on one thing. You've mentioned sales calls, but I presume the majority of your calls are actually like e-commerce, so landing page, the sign up, or I do a free trial, right? And there is no salesperson needed. So at which stage you actually have conversations with your prospects, or after the free trial is a re-engagement? How do you judge this?
We have both the models. We have the product-led growth and the PQL workflows, because we have a freemium plan for the 14 days free trial. So it starts as a 14-day free trial, and then we have a reverse workflow where after 14 days it becomes a freemium plan, like a free forever plan.
Yeah.
But we also have a sales-led growth, because like I said, Oneflow is a software or is a tool that works better when there is an integration, because people who are using a HubSpot or people using a Salesforce, obviously this is a perfect fit because your entire contract workflow is in one place. So yes, we have a sales-led growth, especially for bigger companies that wants to explore and that wants to understand how the integrations work. So for that, yes, we have a sales team that contacts these inbound leads. But we also have the outbound and the partner-driven ecosystem as well. We started more as a very outbound heavy, I would say, sales approach maybe 3-4 years ago, and it's only maybe 3 years ago that we started inbound. As a strategy in itself. And now we are moving more towards an all-bound approach with intent signals, with warm outbound, so that all three teams work together, because the ultimate goal is revenue growth. So it's not about inbound versus outbound or anything of that sort, because I think those times are over, and if companies don't fix that and move towards outbound, I don't see companies being efficient when it comes to revenue and ARR. So yeah, we start contacting. If it's inbound, it's very clear, because as and when the lead comes, and if it fits if it fits our ICP, then yeah, you have sales team in our respective offices based on which country they've come up with, or based on which segment. Is it SMB, or is it mid market, or is it enterprise? They contact them. So there is a first discovery call, and then you have the demo, and that's how it normally happens. When it comes to signups, and that's at a lower, like very small SMB companies, obviously we would want them to have a self-service plan where they can directly purchase the tool, so they don't have to have a sales touch. But if signups after the 14-day trial, and if it fits the ICP and the minimum threshold of sales-led growth, then obviously we'll have sales trying to approach them as well. So we have a lot of conversations in our CRM or in our sales intelligence platform, whether it's calls, whether it's conversations, which is important for marketing to understand, so that we can go back and optimize our campaigns and our content.
Awesome. Truly well thought, I think, executed strategy. You're really focusing on the same goal as a team. And it's not very often I actually hear that, where if marketing and sales are completely disconnected, and then the product is miles away. Sometimes they don't even know each other that well, right, at companies. And it seems to be complete in control here. And I love the omni-channel approach, right? Like, you really want to be everywhere where your prospects are, and essentially anyone that sells something in B2B space could be your potential client. You've got great offer. As I said, I'm most likely moving my contracts there, or at least opening the new contracts. I'll definitely test it out. Tell me if in your approach and for the next year or two, is there something that you really focusing on now, or maybe the next test, or something that you really want to bring as another channel for you?
Yes, definitely. Yes. So, I mean, normally when people ask me, how is your marketing strategy different from the others? I mean, the answer that I have is, I mean, the aim is not to differentiate. The aim is to come up with a strategy that suits your business. So that's normally the mistake that most marketing teams do. You try to imitate some other brand, but then that strategy would not fit your business goals. So yeah, I mean, starting this year, obviously, I mean, recently we launched Oneflow's creator program, where we want to build, trust, authenticity, and grow a community, because we believe that marketing is not just about brands talking to buyers, but it's about people talking to each other, whether it's influencers, whether it's your customer advocates. So that's we are betting big on the creators program. I mean, a lot of companies launch creators program, but only very few succeed, like HubSpot or Clay. These are the ones that have done this brilliantly. It's I mean, so it's easy to launch something, but then it's about how you invest your time, effort to ensure that it's meaningful for your prospects or your customers. So yeah, I would say Oneflow creators program is something that we're going to bet big this year and going forward as well. We have always invested a lot of focus on customer lifecycle. Again, it's part of the omni-channel effort. So based on how the prospects and customers interact with our product, with our sales, we want to have entire ecosystem build on how we communicate with them, based on the triggers, based on how they interact with our product as well as with our sales. Because I think a lot of marketing team are heavily focused only on the acquisition part, but for us from the start, we want to ensure that we also influence the sales cycle, post sales, whether it is how do we focus on retention, churn control, expansion. So these are things which we are heavily focusing on. That's going to continue as well, because with how SaaS has evolved in the last 3 years, with post-COVID and multiple economic situations, companies to acquire new customers, because the cost of acquiring them has gone up. So there is a lot of focus on ROI, retention, and churn as well. So yeah, customer lifecycle is going to be another key focus. And then, like I said, all-bound, intent-based workflows with ABM, which we have been building, and that's something that we want to continue. And then the last most important one is content, because I said there is a significant set of our prospects that don't know that they need a solution. So we want to ensure that we educate them through AI channels or through any distribution platforms. But the core is the content that should give value to these users.
No, you got the creative program, so I take it you're going to have probably some content from that as well that hopefully you can use.
Yes.
And in terms of your content, what are you thinking? Is more like a demo style, or just showing the business transformation or expansion, how easy it is for business to expand if they're just going to include maybe remote selling and things like this. Any ideas of like what kind of content you want to be creating?
It's a mix of a lot of things because, yes, like you said, from OneFlow's creator program, obviously there's going to be content. But our creators program sits along with our thought leadership or influencer program as well. So we get a lot of content from our customer advocates because that is more relatable for the audience. That is when our customers talk about what were the challenges that they had and how they are solving it. I think it's more relatable. So that's a huge content segment that we want to cater to. But apart from that, yes, it's more about how OneFlow can help with building ROI and ensuring that the organization is more efficient. When I say efficient, not just about saving money or ROI, but also about how they can save their time and the resources that's invested in admin work. It's a mix of both, I would say, customer stories, and when it directly comes from customers, and then the content that these creators create within our space, and more of educational content that helps audience understand that there is a big challenge or problem that they need to solve.
Yeah. Awesome. Really good strategy. I really like how you're approaching this and how you really want to have in control of, where your prospects, where your potential clients are, what is so unclear, what they don't know, right? And how can we just put it in front of them so that, a couple minutes here at a time, 40 seconds, 5 minutes, maybe longer, and really funnel them into them making decisions that they want to try it for free for 2 weeks and then go from there, right? And I'm going to be one of those people. I'm going to actually sign up, try it for free. I'm actually preparing a new contract, and it'll be perfect opportunity for us to try it out soon. If someone else would like to also go and give you, give OneFlow a go and maybe test it against something that they already use, where can they find you?
Oh, I mean, it's out there on our website. It's very clear. You can go to oneflow.com. Yes, I would say that you should try the product first, because so that you clearly understand how it looks and how it's different from your existing solution, and then you can always talk to our sales team as well. We also have the interactive demo, so you can always, without even signing up, you can look into and see our product and interact with what are the things that you can do as well.
Awesome. Yeah. Listen, thank you very much for this. Thank you for joining me today, sharing everything about your strategies and your channels and how it's been working for you. It looks to me like a really thought through strategy, and I can see that you're trying quite a lot of things and keeping the best things, and you're the first person I've spoken to that actually is going actively to get that AI traffic and this type of searches. So yet again, thank you very much for joining me. I really appreciated this conversation. Thanks.
This was a great conversation, Pete, and thanks once again for having me on the show. And like I said, how much ever we have thought out the strategy, unless you test, it's not gonna, you're not gonna succeed. So for us, it's always about testing and experimentation. But thank you so much for this invite.